See you guys once again, man. We bless God for all of you guys. For anybody who is new tonight, we bless God for you guys. Focus. Can we give them a focus? Welcome. For those of you guys who are new, we want to encourage you guys after TNT is done tonight, you can go outside to our table, and we have at our table a little bit about our ministry, and then at the same time we have some other things like prayer requests. If you just want somebody to partner in prayer with you, if you just want somebody to lift you up in prayer and to join you in prayer about whatever's going on in your life, you can go to our table, you can write that down. Also, if you are new, we would love for you to go to our table, meet a few people who will be at our table after TNT is done tonight, fill out the accountability form where you can just put your email down so that way we can let you know about all the things that are coming up within Focus and let you know about how you can stay connected. This month, I'm really excited because this month is going to be just an awesome month. The month of November leading up to the end of the semester. How many of you guys are excited about the end of the semester? Some of y'all like, y'all just going to bust out of worship right now. But November, I'm really excited because there's going to be a lot of exciting things happening on Tuesday nights in particular throughout the month of November. We're going to have a good friend of mine who's going to come and preach one particular night, and I think you guys are really going to love him and love the word that God has given him on that particular night. So we'll talk more about that as time goes on. Next Tuesday, everybody say next Tuesday. Next Tuesday is going to be something very special. I'm going to be sharing some really, really cool things that God is doing within great opportunity that's coming forth for Focus. And so I haven't even told our leaders yet. We're going to be talking about that this weekend. So you can try to figure out what it is, as some of them have already tried to do. It's going to be to no avail, I promise you. But I can just tell you this, and it's going to be pretty cool. So make sure you guys are here next Tuesday, so that way you'll know exactly what's going on. Then at the end of tonight, you guys are going to hear a few announcements. We are going to be doing something really cool in the month of November, and Rhonda will come up and kind of talk a little bit more about that as far as our outreach initiative and how we're going to really try to bless people within not just the campus, but more importantly the community that surrounds this campus. And so if any of you guys have been just looking for opportunities to be a blessing to people throughout this season of holidays that are coming up with Christmas and with Thanksgiving, obviously this month, it's a great opportunity for everybody here, no matter who you are, no matter where you're from, to really be a part of that particular initiative. So definitely keep your ears open for that. But with that being said, this month we're just really going to focus on not ourselves, but this month is really going to be centered and focused on reaching out to other people. And so with that being said, we're going to kind of be teaching from a very creative type of a title for a series. And it's just 3 simple words if you're taking notes. But the title of this series from now all the way until the end of November is going to be entitled Bring a Dish. Bring a dish. Some of you guys just got food in your head. You got turkey, you got collard greens, sweet potato pie. How many of you guys like sweet potato pie? Apple pie, ice cream, bluebell, right? Just got saved on bluebell right there. But bring a dish, the idea behind that, obviously you know, is when you hear somebody say bring a dish, that means that they're expecting you to bring something that's going to benefit everybody who's going to be partaking, right? Exactly. So the idea behind this series and the concept behind this series is that we pray, I pray after every Tuesday night throughout the month of November, from tonight all the way to the last Tuesday of this month, that you would be compelled, that we would be compelled to reach out to other people, whether it is sharing the gospel with people, even if it's people who are already saved, meeting their needs in a tangible way, in a practical way, but understanding that it's not really about us, but understanding that what God has done in my life, God has commissioned me and compelled me to share that with other people. So in other words, as the weeks go on, like there are people that God strategically placed in your life that you know should be at a TNT or you know should be coming to a small group on Thursday nights, but for some reason we never even tell them about it. Like how many people in your circle actually know that you're here tonight? You don't have to answer that question, it's kind of rhetorical. But think about like how many people in your class know that you are at a worship service on a Tuesday night with other people who have some of the same issues, the same struggles. there's probably not a lot of people that know about it. It's almost kind of like we live double lives, right? Like you have this Christian life or this holy life or this sanctified life on Tuesdays, and if you come to Thursday night small groups with the men and women, you have that particular life. But then you have your turned up life, right? Where, like, y'all know what I'm talking about. You got that turned up life where you may just kind of, like, you separate it, right? You kind of set one aside for the other. Like you have the sanctified you on certain days of the week, and then you have the turned up side of you on other days of the week, right? I only have one person who's going to be real about it. But unfortunately, what happens is, it is not you who is the only one who suffers from this, but it's also other people around us who begin to suffer from this. So because there's kind of like this split personality in my life between my walk with the Lord and then what I'm just going to do with my life, other people who need the Lord never hear about the Lord because we just stay silent. And so instead of me bringing a dish to somebody, I more so look at relationships as from the angle of what can I get from them. Right? So like people, there's some people in your classes who are just academically astute. Like they are just a beast in that particular class that you are failing, right? And so you go to them, you ask them, hey, I don't want to cheat off you, but if you could just help me, right? You can interpret help however you want to. I'm not going to do no conviction, make you feel terrible or nothing like that. But can you help me? Can you help me study? Can you give me some pointers as it relates to this particular class, right? So you're taking from them, but the question now is, what are you doing for them? Because it can't be effective if I'm just taking, right? I would always feel terrible, like, especially as an engineering student when I was here, I would always feel terrible because, like, there was some cats in my class, they were just monsters, right? And I would just always ask them questions. And I would just feel deep down on the inside like, yo, I need to do something for you, man. Because you ain't getting paid to help me. You be staying out the class, we be in a lab putting together circuits, and this is easy to you, but to me this is like rocket science, and in some aspects of engineering it kind of feels like it is rocket science, right? But nonetheless, I need to do something for you. Have you guys ever felt that? Like when somebody just did a whole lot for you, but you didn't really do nothing for them? Like you gave them the best steak you possible, you showed them all 32 of your teeth, right? Like for real, you just constantly showed as much gratitude. Some of y'all laughing because you're like, I don't really have 32. I have like half of that, right? The other half is fake, but I do a good job. My parents' insurance hooked me up, right? But nonetheless, you got it. That's cool. But nonetheless, right? But there's nothing that we really, in fact, do for them. So here's my question. Like, just as you have people right now that God strategically placed you around to help you, what are you doing now to help them? Right? Like, what are you doing now to bless them? You may not have a whole lot of money. You may not have a whole lot of food. But what you do have, if you're walking with Christ, is so much more valuable than money. It's so much more valuable than food. It's so much more valuable, even more so than time. You have a treasure, an earthen vessel, that relationship with Christ. You know Jesus, the one who made food, the one who made math, the one who made science, but yet for some reason we don't give him out to people. And so as a result, the people suffer. Tell the person beside you, bring a dish. So that's all we're going to kind of be talking about this month. My prayer is that week after week, like as there are so many seats around you, like I want you to think about certain people who need to fill some of these seats in your life. Like some people right now who are struggling, like you just look at them and you make a stank face because they just live in a reckless lifestyle, right? There's a seat for them. And so now what the prayer has to be, God, enlarge my heart where I now want to see them receive what I have. And so with that being said, we're going to go to Luke chapter 10, beginning at verse 25. And we're going to read down a few verses to end at verse 37. Luke chapter 10, verses 25 to 37. It's a great passage of scripture, and it really will set the course for everything that we'll be talking about throughout the course of this month. As always, if you guys ever were to miss a TNT, if you guys were ever to miss a teaching or a particular Tuesday night, you can always go on our website, focusmin.org. And up there, you'll be able to see previous messages, previous teachings. Even if you don't go to the website, you can go to YouTube. If you're finding yourself on YouTube all the time, it's our address is FOCUSODU, and up there you'll be able to find stuff from not only this semester, but previous semesters as well. Luke chapter 10, beginning at verse 25, and we are going to end at verse 37. Luke 10, verses 25 all the way until verse 37. And this is what it says. On one occasion, an expert in the law stood up to test Jesus. Teacher, he asked, what must I do to inherit eternal life? What is written in the law? He replied. How do you read it? Verse 27, he answered, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and love your neighbor as yourself. Verse 28, you have answered correctly, Jesus replied. Do this and you will live. Verse 29, but he wanted to justify himself. So he asked Jesus, this is the expert in law talking to Jesus, and who is my neighbor, right? He got real smart, sarcastic with Jesus, right? Okay, Jesus, you're telling me to share love to my neighbor. Who is my neighbor? Right, that's what Jesus says. In reply, Jesus says, a man was going down from Jerusalem to Jericho when he fell into the hands of robbers. They stripped him of his clothes, beat him, and went away, leaving him half dead. A priest happened to be going down the same road. When he saw the man, he passed by on the other side. That's cold right there. A priest did this, right? Verse 32. So too a Levite, somebody else from the priestly tribe, when he came to the place and saw him, passed by on the other side. But, everybody say but a Samaritan, as he traveled, came where the man was, and when he saw him, he took pity on him. Verse 34, he went to him and bandaged his wounds, pouring on oil and wine. Then he put the man on his own donkey, took him to an inn, and took care of him. The next day he took out 2 silver coins and gave them to the innkeeper. Look after him, he said, and when I return, I will reimburse you for any extra expense you may have. Which of these 3 do you think was a neighbor to the man who fell into the hands of robbers? Verse 37, the expert in the law replied, the one who had mercy on him. Jesus told him, go and do likewise. Amazing. So tonight, for just technical purposes, tonight I want to kind of tag this particular message, be a good neighbor. Be a good neighbor. Tell the person beside you, be a good neighbor. Be a good neighbor. Right? Immediately when I read this passage a while back, one of the first things that I thought of when I saw the word neighbor is the State Farm model. Right? Y'all know it. Like a good neighbor. Some of you guys got a tune with it. I love it, right? And it's amazing because they've coined this phrase to really capture and identify what they're all about. Allstate has something very similar, right? With Allstate, you are in good hands. Look at y'all, man. Marketing. Whoever was the marketing exec for those 2 companies have done their job, right? So immediately you begin to see 2 core principles of 2 of the largest car insurance or auto insurance, whatever the case may be, companies in America and what they stand for. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Allstate, you're always in good hands. Because their concept, their belief, their idea, what their principle is, what their model, their philosophy is this, is that we care about you. That no matter what state you find yourself in, we will always make yourselves available. I love the State Farm commercial, like how somebody can just be sitting down on the couch and then they sing that little tune and all of a sudden the insurance agent just shows up. Isn't that amazing? But ultimately, that really communicates what they are about. That whenever something crazy happens in your life, whenever something tragic happens in your life, we will be here to help you out. We will be here to insure you. We will be here to cover you. And ultimately, when we begin to think about that, when we begin to think about what they're about, and even what Jesus was talking about here in Luke chapter 10, the question we got to ask ourselves is this. When we find other people who have stumbled upon hard times, can we say the same thing that State Farm says? Like a good neighbor, I'm there. Or can I say the thing that Allstate says? You're good in my hands, I'm going to help you out. Or rather, do we do what we do on the interstate when we see an accident, we drive by, right? We nosy like, oh my God. right? There's no traffic, right? You're just slowing down traffic, right? You're going 5 to 10, right? Am I saying to get out your car, help them? No, not at all, unless the Lord just absolutely compels you to do it. Go for it. But metaphorically, what this says is this. How many people around us are in wrecks right now in their life, but we're doing nothing about it? How many people right now around us do we see in our families, in our friend circles, our roommate situations, in our classes, whatever the case may be, how many times do we walk past people, we encounter people who are literally in a wreck, but yet we do nothing about it? Whether they wreck themselves or somebody wrecked them, it does not matter. The bottom line is they are in a wreck and they need help. The question I have to ask myself is, what am I doing? What am I doing to ultimately help them? And the reason why this is such an important question to ask is this. The reason why it's important to ask that question is because all of us have been where they are. All of us have experienced wrecks in our life of some sort, whether you were actually in a car accident or you were in a wreck point of your life. Where you were at a point where you were low, you were at a point where you were going through, you were at a point where you had nothing, where you were broke down, where you were discouraged, where you were deflated, where you were depressed. You needed somebody to help you. And the question I'm going to ask you is this: did God send somebody your way to help you? Let me answer that question for you. Yes. How do I know that? Because you're here right now. And just as God and his sovereignty and his omnipotence, which means he's all powerful, and his omniscience, which means he's all knowing, just as God knew my situation and knew exactly what I needed, he sent somebody to help me out. And just as God ultimately sent somebody to help me out, maybe God has sent me to help other people out. Maybe the reason why I'm rooming with this person is bigger than what it is on the surface, because conveniently I could not find anybody to room with, and only you just happened to strategically place me with the most drunkest person on campus. That is not an accident. God did that on purpose, so that way you could be what State Farm is to people who are in a wreck. A good neighbor. And the awesome thing about this is, even when we experience the lowest point of our lives, even when we find ourselves in wrecks, the awesome thing was this: that through the grace of God, God extends his son, Jesus Christ. So what Jesus does is, Jesus sees that we are in a low point in our life, we are in the worst place in our life, and so what he does is he comes from eternity, takes a break essentially from eternity, he comes from eternity, from heaven, a perfect place, to come down, dwell with us who are imperfect people in an imperfect place, just to repair us. Paul talks about it, to reconcile us back to God, to repair our relationship with God, to do something for us that we can never do for ourselves. Let me help you understand something. You are surrounded by people who cannot help themselves. And the longer you and I stay there and watch them continue to try to help themselves, the longer you and I will essentially experience the lack of healing that can take place in that person's life. So now, day after day, I go to class, I go to class, I go to class. I clock in the job, I clock in, I clock in. I go to my room, right? I bypass everybody because I don't really want to have anything to do with my crazy roommates. They're just trifling and crazy and weird all at the same time. And I don't want to have